But I went into the group chat earlier and said to everybody, anything people want to speak about specifically. And Mo Gender straight away come back with Ten Hag. All he wrote was Ten Hag. I asked him to expand, and he said the players are turning on him. And they kind of are, according to the headlines today. And Mo, I'll let you take this away, really, because I've read the headlines that there's lots of players in the Man United dressing room who are turning on Ten Hag. They don't like how he's treated Jadon Sancho, and it appears there's some problems there. Over to you, Mo.
Listen, this Man United thing is like, this is where people feast. The news, the media, and it's international break, nothing to talk about. So let's talk about Manchester United and Ten Hag, as there is nothing else to talk about. I'm sure there's like a couple of players that just voiced their opinion to their friends, and their friends leaked it to somebody, and now it's all the dressing room is against Ten Hag. I think that's how it works. But it's still the Sancho thing. The Maguire now is coming out like he plays one game, has one assist, and now he thinks he's the best defender in the league. I was like, I have 100% percentage in winning. I'm like, some of these guys are just idiots at Man United, and I'm just saying it out loud. Some of these players are just idiots. They think they are bigger than they actually are. Some of them think because Harry Maguire plays in the England national team and Southgate chooses him, now he has a bigger stature than Eric Ten Hag or even Manchester United as a football club. Bro, you were out of the door. They just didn't sell you because they didn't get enough money for you and you wanted 8 million. So just shut up, play your role, and just get on the pitch when they need you, do your job, get paid, and next year you're out of the club. So just stop making noise. I am with Sancho on the situation that he shouldn't apologize. However, at the end, you're an employee, probably inside the club, it needs to be fixed. But this is all a reflection of where the club is at. I asked the question this morning, will Man United ever be back without changing ownership? What if the ownership don't change? What happened? And I now believe, especially after this international break, Man United might never be back without new owners. If the Glazers stay, it's a reflection of what everything is happening at the club. This news of Eric Ten Hag player turning is, as you say, maybe December he'll be out of the club because more players are not going to be happy, and we'll see another manager, interim manager, and whoa, Man United on the wheel again, and you win a couple of games, and we start again. It's a cycle that will never end. It's never going to be ending.
I mean, look, it's been very clear that I don't think that Ten Hag is the man, or I don't believe in his styles and so on. But I don't think that Man United are going to sack him. And when you look at some of the players and the players that are turning on him, they're players that Man United ideally want out of the club right now. Like Maguire coming out, and honestly, I think it's an absolute joke. I've never seen a player come out once, any player for any club, and come and talk about a win percentage. A win percentage. and like the thing that makes this a lot worse is you're Manchester United, the biggest club in world football, and you've got players undermining your management in the live media. By the way, talking about how he deserves to start because of win percentage. When, let's be real, guys, we can all look at this from context. He's played the easiest games. Like, it's not hard for you to get 100% win percentage in that play. You didn't play against the big club. So, yeah, you can take a win percentage. And I hate that the England, whenever he goes away with England, that's whenever he gets his little line.
The ego, right? Like Southgate pumps him on the side, you know.
And I hate it. I hate that the English team give him this sense of it's like importance because he gets called up by Southgate. He's the main defender, but you're not that guy, Maguire. You're not
George,
that guy.
True.
Frankly,
this morning I opened the Daily Mail, I opened the Sun, I opened like London, whatever thing. The headlines, guys, and I promise you, go check the newspaper today. Every single front page is Harry Maguire. It's absolutely nuts.
Do you know what's really crazy?
Nuts,
what's crazy about it, George? What you just said there, the players and manager doesn't rate. And this has happened for the last 3 managers specifically. It didn't really happen to LVG as much, but it happened from Jose onwards. Players that he didn't get on with or didn't want turned against him. And either directly, so the club not letting these managers sell players, or them not being able to sell them, and they're allowing the players to speak out and do whatever they want. It's just, this has gone on every single time. Players at Man United, it's cultural. Phil, well, if I'm upset, and I actually think players are upset. I bet if you spoke to Calvin Phillips privately, I bet you he's annoyed at being at City right now. Yes, they're winning. Yes, he's at a great club, but he's not happy. We've heard, how many times have we heard players that have played for Pep in winning teams complain about him? Loads.
Yeah,
Fergie.
loads.
Look at Fergie and Roy Keane's relationship. Fergie has loads of ex-players that they know how good he was, but they didn't like how he did things as an example. And I think that at Man United, the way it gets twisted into, well, the manager must always be wrong, or even if the manager is wrong, that's completely unacceptable, and we should all side with the players. There's a thing on the Daily Mail today I was looking at, and it's almost based on the players the manager should pick based on their win percentage. And it's like Ronaldo's win percentage of starting games under Ten Hag is one of the highest. Well, yes, because he started like one game against a very small, easy team, and we won it, so it's like 100%. You said it right, Jules. Maguire has started a lot of games against the easier teams as of late, so his win percentage is high. I always remember years ago they used to do this thing where they showed Liverpool's win percentage with and without Gerrard. Oh, look, they've got a 20% better win percentage without him. Yeah, that's because they only drop him when they're playing the easiest teams that they invariably beat. So, of course, the win percentage is higher. It's all very, very, very disingenuous. And that doesn't mean Ten Hag hasn't made mistakes. It doesn't mean that he shouldn't be criticized for things that he has done wrong. But you said it bang on, George. It's the players that he doesn't fancy at the club who are turning on him. And the reason why I defend the manager isn't because I back Ten Hag to the end of the earth and back. It's because I've seen 3 managers running treated this way 3 times running. Generally speaking, the fans, the media, and in the end, the owners have gone with the players, and we haven't improved as a football club. So this becomes not about my favorite player, my favorite manager. It becomes about following practices that have led to the position that we are in, and it stinks. It stinks to high heaven.
And you know what? I think there's 2 ways that you can go about this conversation. First and foremost, I think Mo said it very well that when there's nothing going on, just talk about United. Some Man United fan will be outraged, and obviously, I think rival fans will just call Man United fans bitter or whatever the case is. But when there's nothing to talk about, if you talk about Man United with one of the biggest clubs in the world, there will be clicks, there will be downloads, whatever the case have you. So it could be making nothing out of nothingness, which is what, sort of the news tend to do on most occasions. But then also with Harry Maguire, I think with the comments that he's made, I think whoever is handling his PR is doing a terrible job at the moment. I think for the first time in a very long time, nobody was actually having a go at Maguire for anything. Obviously, his mum came out and defended. His mum came out, made a statement about stop bullying my son. Stop it. His feelings are hurt. You know what I mean? So, and obviously everybody went at him for that. But since then, nobody's really said anything. He's come back into the team. He's played a couple more games than we're used to be honest. And nobody's really gone at him. And then the first opportunity that he gets a chance, he's out talking about, I am the big I am. And I feel like whoever's handling his PR should have told him, wait a couple more months. Just give it some time. Play a few more games. Make yourself undeniable in the starting team. And then talk about troubled times as if they're times in the past. Don't talk about them as if you've overcome them now, because you haven't, big man. That's facts. And then the last thing I would say on Ten Hag, because I'm just not a defender of Ten Hag blindly, is I think the mistake that he's made is he's deviated from the meritocracy that he had promised when he first came in. I think it's easier to build a team that is happy with their playing time when they genuinely feel that if somebody else is having a stinker, they'll come off the pitch. But in the past 2-3 months or so, he's picked the same man over and over again. So the players on the bench are like, bruv, we are losing every week and I can't get a chance here. So what does it say about my abilities? What is he trying to say about me? Am I useless? Is that what it is? And then you get the disharmony. That's where I feel all the issue is really.
But
So I just want to say on that, and you're right. Like there's certain players that the Sancho Anthony argument keeps rearing its head, and I think most level-headed Man United fans have always said, but neither have produced in terms of going forward. But at least with Anthony, we kept shape and he did the defensive work. So it always made sense why one was being picked over the other for me. Although I still wanted, and this is where it becomes so, again, when you have like what I call basic bitch debates, they go, yeah, but he ain't scoring either. Yeah, we know. We want better than both. I'm not defending Anthony in terms of he's the guy forever. I want better than both. But the argument between those two is a micro penis competition. And it's nonsensical to me for Man United fans to care about that. But where the problem lies is back to what Mo said, and I've been saying it for 8 years. It's the ownership, because Man City would, Arsenal now would, Liverpool definitely would, and all the best run clubs would. If they're a manager that they're backing and says, look, these 3 players are always talking in the media, there are issues in training, I don't want to use them for whatever the reason. I don't like him as a footballer. I don't like him as a person. Doesn't track back enough. I don't really care what it is. His agent's a dickhead. It doesn't matter what the manager's reasons are. All those clubs would turn around and go, see you later then. They'd get the player out and it removes that problem. And so for me, it's a case of sometimes the players are wrong. Sometimes the manager is wrong. But the way the club is run, they throw a liter of petrol over a small campfire and it engulfs everything every single time. And that's for me is kind of like my biggest problem with a lot of this, if that makes sense. And it's just hugely frustrating. Sorry, Ram, you're about to say something, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you literally took the words right out of my mouth. The big problem of this is all Manchester United, and I think the benefit with Eric Ten Hag is
I thought, sorry, in a group chat earlier, when KJ put D, I thought you meant Dizzy. Sorry, there. Hello, D. Welcome, bro. Welcome. Sorry
for being late. I was late from work. How's everyone doing?
No worries, bro.
Yeah,
sorry, go on, Ram. Sorry, go on, bro.
I was just going to quickly say the only benefit for Eric Ten Hag in terms of the fan base is that it's Harry Maguire. And Man United fans have already come to the conclusion Harry Maguire is not good enough for their club. And they don't really care whatever he says. They whatever he says, if he's good enough to start or whatever, they're like, no, you're not good enough for this club. We want you out of the club. And they're obviously going to back Ten Hag with this kind of situation. So I think in terms of this situation alone, on just the Harry Maguire stuff, that's the only benefit of Eric Ten Hag is that it's Harry Maguire. It's not a big profile like a Paul Pogba was with Jose Mourinho.
The problem is though, Ram, and you may not be aware of this yet. I spoke about this about 4 or 5 weeks ago. The revisionism has already started from the media because we had Adrian Durham on TalkSport and multiple others talk about they've actually said this, that Maguire's career at United was brilliant until Ten Hag arrived. That narrative has been painted. You've now got fans that don't like Ten Hag. They're kind of sitting there, and it's very political for them because they go, right, I don't really like Maguire either, but I might now, because there's enough media support, be able to use Maguire as a stick to beat the manager with. I've seen this start to happen. Suddenly, there's this revising of how bad Maguire was for 2 years, and it's just, for me, as a fan watching, it's horrendous. It's horrendous to
I want to interject here and ask a question here. Listen, Spurs been shambles. People are calling Levy out. They don't like how he runs the club, all the Harry Kane problems, all of that. But we see someone like Ange Postecoglou come in, and now they live in clouds. You know what I mean? They're happy. They look like a good family. Do we genuinely think that no manager can come in and fix it on the pitch, that people will be happy and will be the happy life like what Spurs are now, even though still it's same Daniel Levy, it's still the same people that manage the team.
Not anymore.
It's happened a few times. It's happened a few times at Man United. You've seen it. Manager comes in, short-term success, even last year under Ten Hag. And then afterwards, the same problems arise. With Man United, I was listening whilst I was driving back home. With Man United, the problems are always going to be there until the owners change. But it's funny now that players are getting onto Ten Hag as well. I don't know where them leaks are coming from. It's interesting, the timing of it. It's a bit confusing why now, especially after a win. But Man United, it's going to be the same old story. That's why it gets boring talking about Man United, because literally you have a manager that comes in, they do well. That manager is all of a sudden, he's going to bring Man United back to the glory days, and then boom.
But you know what? You know what it is though.
That ceiling's due to the owners.
Yeah, but you know what it is though with United, and this is by no means disrespectful to Tottenham by any stretch of the imagination. Tottenham's glory days is being competitive in the league to some degree and finishing high in the table to some degree. Obviously, you might go further in the past and say you've won stuff in the past. I'm talking about like for now. So Tottenham fans, to me personally, they can make peace with a building, with a project built with the eye for success in the future. With United, our glory days are the peak of glory you can wish for, to be honest. So it's a very distinct difference from where we've fallen to where we want to get back up to. Tottenham fans just would be happy to get back to competing for FA Cups in the league here or there, being in and around the positions. United fans won't be happy until we're back dominating for years at a time, winning back-to-back leagues, winning Champions Leagues back-to-back. So the United attention span, United attention span and our tolerance for failure is a lot lower and a lot slimmer. There's a lot narrower window for.
But United fans are still stupid about it. And me and Lee Gunner have this debate all the time. And he says that, not me personally, but he says United are in the mud because the fan standards are too low because you don't expect to win the league every year. In the next breath, he says, but you're never winning the league again until you get new owners. It's like, okay, so deep that for a minute. If we know we can't win the league because the owners run us so badly, why should I have a genuine demand of my manager and team every year to win the league? Well, because you've got to keep the standards high. Well, no, I've got to demand first then that we run the club in a way that could generate a team to win the league. There's a deeper thought. And most Man United fans, I'll be honest with you, that I speak to about this, they're just, I don't want to say they're dense. That sounds horrible, but they just don't think about it in that way. The only time they really go for the Glazers is when it's popular, when the media's talking about it. When it isn't, it's just the managers and players all the time, managers and players. And then when it becomes popular, they go, yeah, and we've got to get the Glazers out. And it was a great quote on Goldbridge's show the other day. I think it was Rob Dawson was on there. That said, look, at the end of the day, the Glazers, they don't care about protests. They don't care about hashtags. They don't care about green and gold scarves. They only care about making money. And it was one of the most least sort of responded to quotes about the Glazers I've seen in 3 years. Why? Because Man United fans know that if they can't say anything about that because they're giving them money. And I've said it 7 years straight. If we would have cut the money away 7 years ago, 6 years ago, we'd have got new owners. We could get the Glazers out within 2 months, easy, by cutting money. It's an easy process, but it's hard to do emotionally. I get it. And you know why it's hard? Because you actually have to sacrifice something you enjoy and you love. And like I've said about most people in 2023, we can all tweet, we can all post things, we can all hashtag, but how many people are willing to actually sacrifice something to make a difference? Whether it's about their football club or something far more important to the world, the answer is a minimal amount of people are actually willing to do anything. And at the end of the day, until the Qataris bid more than they really want to, which could still happen, we're stuck with these Glazers because fans are not willing to do enough to get rid of them. But we'll just sit on the hamster wheel, going around in circles, managers, players. And in 20 years' time, I'll still be sitting there, bald again, grey. I mean, old as hell. Saying, I told you all 30 years ago what was coming. And no, I'm not being political, Terry. I'm talking about football, but you get my point. But there we go. Sorry, I'll hand it back to you guys.
I just wanted to go back on the Ten Hag point, just to give him some defense. I would say that the types of players like that come out in the media or they start downing their tools when managers are not choosing them or not favouring them, they're not the types of players you want at your club anyway. Because you look at the likes of Scott McTominay, he clearly wasn't wanted. Clearly wasn't wanted in the summer. Man United wanted to get rid of him, but all he's done is put his head down. He's not a man that's going to come out in the media and try to say anything bad about Ten Hag. He's not going to come and say anything bad about the club. He's just going to put his head down, play football, and try to get any minutes he can. And you see on the weekend, he got the minutes, he got the game winners, and yeah, he might not be at Man United again for the long term. But if he keeps playing his football and just putting his head down and doing what you're supposed to do, they're the types of players you want at your club. They're the types of players that will earn their spot back in the team and potentially earn their spot back in the club. But a man like Harry Maguire, a man like Sancho, they're not players you want in and around your team. They're not players you want in and around your dressing room. They're leeches, and they're literally just making it all look a lot worse.